Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Thursday morning. Glad you're here. Today we're talking a little bit about politics concerning Fresno Unified School District and what the future is with Michael Hansen. I'm talking about the immediate future, like today. 436 MeTV option 11. We'll get into some other things like that Clovis play that was canceled and also the beloved Mary Tyler Moore, dead at the age of 80. Oh man, so sad. All right, 436 MeTV option 11. Charles Chuck McGill is our sponsor today. Back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Back here on the program on a Thursday morning. Glad you're here. Charles Chuck McGill, attorney at law, is our sponsor today here on the program, and I'm so glad of that. So we're going to do a monologue today talking about all sorts of things, but I want to do a programming note for tomorrow. Peter Nazaridian is going to be in the house. He's kind of our resident family therapist, and we'll be talking about lying. Okay, lying has, well, it dates back to the beginning of time, right? Everybody lies to a certain extent, whether it's a white lie. We talk to our kids and we don't always tell them the truth, and of course they don't always tell us the truth, do they? All right, what's going on at the White House with the press secretary, Sean Spicer? Is he lying to us? Is the President of the United States not fully telling the truth? I do not know the answer to these questions, my friends, so maybe Peter can weigh in and you can weigh in on that tomorrow. That should be a fun program talking about lying. And remember the Olympic swimmer that got caught lying over the summer when he told all those various stories, and it came out that he actually, did what he did at that gas station down there at Rio de Janeiro. Anyway, today's program sponsored by Charles Chuck McGill, as I said. In the meantime, you're watching us live on Comcast, channel 375. As usual, it's Comcast Cable TV, Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a live call-in show, so you're welcome to call in. And then it's 43.6 and 13.1 over the air if you do have one of those digital antennas. Later in the day, we play this program 2 more times, if you can believe that. That's right, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight, 4.6 Biz TV. A day or two later, it's posted up on YouTube. In addition to talking about Michael Hansen today, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about that Clovis play that got canceled. They got all sorts of publicity. We were scheduled to have 2 Buchanan High School students here in our studio today. They agreed to come on, and for whatever reason, late last night, they decided to back out. Did they get cold feet? Did they get a scolding from the principal over at Buchanan? No one really knows, only they know. We do have a response, a written response, which we'll show you later from Kelly Avance. She is the public information officer for the Clovis Unified School District. And at the end of the program, we'll talk a little bit about Mary Tyler Moore, who was such a Hollywood icon. I think all of the young boys back in the 60s and 70s, we all had a crush on Mary Tyler Moore, right? No matter what age you were. And she was such a natural born star, a natural in front of the camera. She was such a great actress and an activist as well. Anyway, today we start the program with Fresno Unified School Superintendent Michael Hansen. Could he be on the way out as early as today? One source tells me no, that won't happen today. We do not know yet what is going to happen behind the scenes. Here is what we know so far as we put up the picture of Michael Hansen. We do know this. The school board apparently will hold a special meeting today at 5 o'clock downtown at the offices. That that decision made yesterday by the trustees so that they consider an appointment of making that decision on an interim superintendent. Hansen announced his retirement last month and said he had plans to stay at the helm until August, but those plans could be foiled The Fresno Teachers Association is outraged at Hansen's salary, his behavior, some of his decision making, and they called for the board members to oust him immediately. Hansen has been under fire for 2 years over the leaseback agreement, a federal probe into the building of Gaston Middle School in southwest Fresno by Harris Construction with no bidding process. Further, Hansen admitted that he and other staffers used CyberDust on their cell phones, an app created by Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, that automatically erases text messages almost immediately within 2 minutes. And Hansen has spent well over $500,000 on attorney's fees regarding the leaseback program. One source told me today they will discuss the process today and potentially discuss when the interim superintendent can take over. And that source also told me Hansen won't last until August. Live in our studio right now is Larry Moore. He's a former teacher. He's a former union leader at Fresno Unified and a former Fresno Unified School Board district member. He is here to offer his opinion on what's going on with Michael Hansen behind the scenes, because I don't know. I mean, we have a couple of new school board members, of course, on hand at Fresno Unified, making all these decisions. They've had 2 prior meetings. One of those meetings, not all of the board members attended. The last meeting, all 7 did, and tonight all of them will be there to discuss this. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Here's a guy that's been in office, 12 years at Fresno Unified, makes nearly $400,000 a year, has done a lot of good, according to some people, for the district as far as test scores and everything else. So we'll see what happens with Michael Hansen in the immediate future. Back after this from Charles Chuck McGill. He is our sponsor today, an attorney at law.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
You can find movies on over-the-air channel 13.3. Movies. Our name says it all.
Glad you're with us here on a Thursday morning, and connect with me on MeTV Fresno. It's a live program, so you can call in. Sometimes the phone lines get really jammed up and then they go to voicemail and we never hear from you. So let's try to limit this to 1 person calling per hour, okay? 1 person per show, because sometimes we get these repeated phone calls from the same people that want to call in. They forget to ask them and then they call back, and then the phone lines get jammed, and then other people who want to call in can't call in, and then they end up going to voicemail. So we want to hear from some different people today, including the same ones who call and watch this show on such a regular basis. Larry Moore is here. Good to see you this morning. How are you?
Good to see you, John.
You looking good?
Yeah, I feel good.
How's retirement treating you?
Retirement's great. It's
Yeah.
great for me.
Yeah. You know, you're looking on the outside looking in now as a retired school board member. You were a union leader, and a good one at that, and you were a school teacher for many years. Hansen, has he overstayed his welcome? The average is, 2 or 3 years for a superintendent. He's been in 12. What's your view now on the outside?
12 years is a long time. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's overstayed, but that's pretty unusual for school superintendents. That's a challenging, really challenging job. So I understand the feeling of a number of people when it's time to move on.
Yeah. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air with Larry Moore.
Good afternoon. How are you, John?
Good, good. How are you this morning?
Not bad, thank you. You'll probably recognize my voice. This is Rick from Coca-Cola Broadcasting. Actually, the reason I was calling is to let you know, actually, you were nationally recognized on the Wendy Williams show. The MeTV was actually mentioned on the Wendy Williams show nationwide in New York, and I just wanted to commend you for that. And again, Larry, not to take anything away from you, you've done a great job, and we appreciate your service. Thank you.
Great. Do you have a question
All
for
right,
him?
very good.
Actually, no, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for the call. All right. Let's get on to the topic. And the topic is the fact of the matter is Michael Hansen has gone through a lot of scrutiny, especially the last 2 or 3 years. I want to roll the videotape. It's called Cyber App. And this was one of the things that really irked a lot of board members and a lot of school teachers and a lot of administrators, asking why is he using this cyber app that when you get a text message, it erases it just within seconds, within minutes, a couple of minutes. This cyber app was actually created by Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, we have no sound on this, but go ahead and roll it, and we'll talk over it. Go ahead.
School officials, all government officials, are required to retain their records. Simple as that. And you shouldn't be having text on official business that erases itself.
Does it raise suspicion, Larry, because of the federal probes and the leaseback program? A lot of people are saying, oh my God, he's using this cyber app, which you're seeing here on the screen right now, because he's erasing confidential information that he doesn't want the feds to see. I mean, that's that's kind of what's going through a lot of people's minds.
Well, I don't know that perception is very important. And if you're the superintendent and anyone, a public official, I was on the school board, it's not always what the facts are behind this you're doing, may be innocuous, but it's the perception. And my experience with the administration at Fresno Unified is they are not very transparent. And they have not been. And you have difficulty getting information. I know the Fresno Bee has had trouble getting information from them. So that just leads and accentuates that view that many people already have that that the school district is not transparent.
That doesn't mean that Larry Hansen has done anything illegally or anything inappropriate, but the perception can be a killer.
Absolutely. Perception is reality many times. For people act on perceptions.
Yeah.
So you have to be very cognizant of that. And that's it's in his contract, that's one of his primary responsibility is to not bring any ill repute on the district.
Yeah, it's amazing some of the outrage that has been created within the district. When you say that the district hasn't been transparent, do you mean that Michael Hansen, in your view, has not been transparent, or does that mean board members or the district officials themselves, including Hansen?
I think superintendent sensed the tone on that. So yes, I would hold him responsible for the lack of transparency.
Are you embarrassed for the district with the federal probe and everything else?
Yes, I am. It's a very serious thing. Whether there's anything there or not, I don't know. And the investigation goes on and on and on forever. And more than likely, my experience, just as a citizen viewing the FBI, they're not going to say anything even when it's over unless they were to bring charges against somebody. So you're not going to get any additional information. I think the school board, the previous school board, should have launched their own investigation, and they refused to do that. That's their responsibility.
Why do you think that is?
I think they were too close to Mr. Hansen.
You think they wanted him to remain in office?
I think that the majority of the school board was very protective of Superintendent Hansen, and they were very supportive of him. And any criticism of Mr. Hansen, they were not going to do their due diligence to investigate and get to the facts. Yes, I believe that.
Yeah, and here's what I find interesting too, Larry, is that this federal probe started in 2015, I believe, late 2015, and we haven't heard anything since then. Nothing. The probe has been launched. Maybe the probe is still going on. We don't know that. Feds are not telling us. but haven't heard much since then. And do you find that a little surprising? Or if you were still on the school board, would you want to know more about what the feds are doing at this point?
I wouldn't want to know what the feds are doing. What I would want to know is what we are doing.
Okay.
And when the allegations first surfaced in the press and the newspapers and television, at that time the school board should have hired an independent investigator of their own. They should not rely on the Federal Bureau of Investigation. FBI deals with crimes. We don't know if there was any crime committed here. But negligence, not doing your job well, that can be also reasons for termination or to look at an employee. And the school board buried their heads in the sand, and they didn't investigate, and they should have. I know there were two members on the board, Michelle Asadorian and myself, that wanted and pushed for an investigation, and none was forthcoming. We were not even allowed to have a closed session. They refused to meet with us.
You couldn't even talk about it.
They would not talk about it. The school board members I'm speaking of.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Like I said, I don't,
Protectionism?
I don't believe they're dishonorable people, or I don't know what's in their mind, but I think they were too close to the superintendent, relied too much on him, and refused to do their job, which was to supervise the one employee a school board has, is the superintendent. And their job is to supervise and investigate and find out what the facts are. And they chose not to do that.
I'm not an expert in this leaseback program. Explain it to us a little bit, because it centers around Gaston Middle School, which isn't far from Edison High School, which isn't far from Edison Computech Middle School. It's just down the street there. And so what does this have to do? What does a leaseback exactly mean?
Normally, when a school is going to do a construction project, they would put out for bids the various aspects of building it, and they hire, so there's competitive bidding. When they do a leaseback, they don't go through that process exactly. What they do is they hire a general contractor to handle the entire project. And so there's no more public bidding on it after that. The general contractor does the project, and he bids on a certain price, and it goes forward. It was primarily used originally for school districts that didn't have a lot of money. So they could, it allowed them to build it. The contractor essentially built it on his own financing, and then the school bought it back over time.
Hang on, caller. So Harris Construction ended up building Gaston. That's what this probe has to do with, and apparently there was no bidding process. And according to the Fresno Bee, Hansen's handling of the construction bids led to a successful lawsuit against the district and a federal grand jury subpoena for documents in 2015. As I said, though, nothing has been heard since then. And like you said, it really allowed the district, this leaseback, to skip the competitive bidding process. And that's what the crux of the issue is. Am I right?
Right. The concern originally, many years ago, I was not opposed to leaseback myself. But you have to have competitive bidding for the person who's the general contractor. And that's the problem or concern many people have, was that some construction companies had the inside move on getting these projects, and there really was no fair bidding process for that. After that, then the general contractor takes responsibility.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to the call in a moment here, but I just want to read out of the Fresno Bee just real quick here in a recent article that they wrote. Hansen had awarded the contract to a construction company. We all know that's Harris Construction now. The district to a company that donated to the district's bond campaign and to the district causes that Hansen promoted. So that's where perhaps someone could say, and we talked about perception, maybe a conflict of interest.
It could be.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
I'm not going
that's
to.
That's what needs to be investigated. That's what was so disheartening to me, was that You see, it's kind of a cop-out to say, well, the FBI is investigating. Well, the FBI is not the school district, and the school board are elected officials. And they have a responsibility when issues come up of possible misconduct to investigate themselves.
They dropped the ball.
And they dropped the ball, and they did no investigation.
And we have no idea why.
We can only guess.
Yeah, and I don't want to guess here, but I know that Brooke Ashton, who is a member of that school board, has been an outspoken critic, major critic of Michael Hansen. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'd like to ask your guest a question real quick. Is overall, everything, I know there's doubts with a lot of board members, not board members, but a lot of the parents. How do you think they compare with the superintendent in the Clovis area compared to Fresno? Who's stronger as far as leadership? I'm pretty sure that once in Clovis, the superintendent has the backing of the teachers and the parents. But there's so much scrutiny with what's going on, building schools and public, an interest in his part. And if that was a problem, the board members, the reason they back him up is he's got a lot of power, and he can also use, to get favors from them too. So it's a touch and go. FBI has nothing to do with it really, because nobody's ever gotten with a crime or anything. So my question to you is this: do you think overall Michael Hansen has done a good, fair, or poor job when it comes to education with the students? Thank you.
Okay, good question.
That is a good question, and Mr. Hansen was there 12 years, and I'd have to say it's a mixed bag. I couldn't, I think, reduce it down to he's either good or bad or that kind of issue. He did some things well. I think the school bonds, the building, regardless of the leaseback, the bonds, I think, and if you drive around Fresno and you see the quality of our schools, I think you have to give him some credit for that. Over the years, helping pass the bonds and getting these schools built. So that's something he can be proud of.
Has he repaired schools?
Yes, the bonds, been. And I can't go back and go through every bond. I don't like my memory is not that good.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Measure K, Measure J, all these different bonds, but a lot of it involved modernization and repair, and plus building new schools. So, as example, Gaston, that was tied into building a new school. There were a number of elementary schools that were built.
Yeah, there were, and some that are being rebuilt to a certain extent. Some elementary schools and middle schools, I know for a fact, are being rebuilt right now. But if you've been out to Gaston, and I've been out there, it is an absolutely modern-day, beautiful structure set up for any kind of modern technology and everything else. That isn't the issue. The issue is how he went about it.
Well, the lease back, I think you have to look at anyone's performance. Particularly Superintendent Hansen's, and I've been a real critic of him from times, but you look at his performance over 12 years, I'm going to give him some credit for a number of things. He was, I think he was a strong management style, and he got a number of things done. Now, whether this district is any better off today than it was 12 years ago, I think that's a question that's up in the air.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the other side of the break here, talking with Larry Moore. He's a former union leader, former teacher at Fresno Unified, and of course he's a former board member over there, so he knows a lot about what's going on. He knows the inside and how the system works. 436-MeTV, option 11. Hey, call in. A lot of time left in the show, 35 minutes left. Charles Chuck McGill is our sponsor today. Back in a minute.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
The following is a list of celebrities you will not see on MeTV programs. Charlie Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, Snooki, Paris Hilton, Perez Hilton, Honey Boo Boo, Justin Bieber, Simon Cowell, Chris Brown, Miley Cyrus, and the Real Housewives of any place. This is who you will see on MeTV programs. Lucy, Ralph, Mary, Perry, Gilligan, Kenner, Spock, Batman, Rowdy, Festus, and the Beaver. MeTV. Thanks for watching.
Again, if you're just joining us, there was a special meeting tonight. Normally, the Fresno Unified School District board members, they meet on Wednesdays at the downtown district office at that building down there. But they have a special session set for 5 o'clock tonight to discuss, according to my source here that I talked to this morning, to discuss the process, because as you know, Michael Hansen announced his retirement from the school district. A lot of people think this is very suspicious. He did this last month after 12 months on the job. Some think it's because of the federal probe that's going on. We don't know that for a fact. The board's going to discuss that. They're also going to discuss potentially hiring an interim superintendent. Soon, immediately. Are we waiting until August like Michael Hansen wants to wait? We don't know. So that's why we're talking about that today. 436 MeTV option 11. Let's roll the B-roll. Fresno Unified. We're going to see some students in class here. And Larry Moore is here. I want to ask you, you know, a lot of people think that Michael Hansen was hired to rescue the district 12 years ago from bankruptcy. Has he done that?
Well, that's certainly the perception, and many people believe that. And actually, the facts don't quite support that perception. When the superintendent was hired, was after a number of years that Fresno and the state of California went through some real financial difficult times with the state budget and cuts to education. There were massive layoffs in Fresno contemplated, which didn't materialize. But by the time Mr. Hansen got here, most of those issues had passed, and there was a balanced budget. There was an actual small reserve, and they were meeting their obligations. The health plan, which was a major concern, which many people felt was out of control, we established a health board to oversee that plan. All of that happened before Mr. Hansen arrived. And so you could argue he did a good job in implementing these things, but certainly the district was not on the verge of bankruptcy when he arrived.
Well, I got to say this. Hansen is 51 years old. He's from the Central Valley. He led Fresno's 4th largest school district, one of the poorest in the entire state, nearly 12 years. His salary among the highest paid in the state, $369,992 a year. Total pay and benefits for last year. So that according to the Fresno Bee. He grew up in Dos Palos, which is not all that far from here. He attended UCLA and Harvard University. Hansen, some believe, brought financial stability, though, to the district. And during his tenure, the percentage of students meeting admission requirements to the state's public universities doubled to 50%. Can he be credited for that?
Yes, of course. Like I said, it's always going to be a mixed bag, and he deserves credit for some of the good things that happened. But he also has to accept some responsibility for some of the things that are not so good. So has he been a good steward? I'll leave that for other people to decide. He certainly has been here a long time.
If you were still on the school board, what would you be requesting at this point?
I don't think it's a good idea for a superintendent to resign effective 6-8 months in the future. That's not a good idea. The springtime right now is when you make plans and you develop your budget for next year. So if the new school board is going to make changes at all, it's very difficult to make changes with the leader that has been there for all this time and will now not be there when you make the changes, so it's hard. So I think they need to get an interim and actually hire a new superintendent in a reasonably short period of time.
Prior to summer?
Prior to summer, especially prior to the adoption of the budget, so that they can make changes. If you bring a superintendent in here in September, well, all of your contracts, everything is established, your budget has been passed. There's not a lot of changes that can be made for the year. You're sort of stuck with whoever was here prior. So the earlier you can get a person in here, then you can start, if there's changes you want to make in the priorities of your school district, you have that opportunity.
According to some reports here, some students meeting admission requirements to the state's public universities doubled by 50%. Number of students taking advanced placement courses also doubled, while the student dropout rate fell nearly by half to 11.7%. And I remember truancy and lack of attendance and crimes being committed just off of campus, even some on campus. We had the Bullard incident, which was well documented by a cell phone tape with all these, I don't know if I want to call them brawls, but they were fights, Bullard fights. So a lot has happened under his tenure. How would you look at, from the outside viewing Fresno Unified, how would you assess the district now? What kind of shape is it in, financially, academically, and otherwise?
Well, you can't look at it in isolation because we are a state educational program. The money comes from the state. So it's not like the school district can go out and raise its own revenue stream. It can't. So it is locked in to a large extent according to the ed code you have to follow. But I think you have to take all of these statistics that come from the district, which many times are cherry picked, with a grain of salt.
They're skewed?
Yes, they are, and there's no doubt about it. And that's not to say that it's all bad or all good. It's just you have to take a skeptical eye and look at some of this stuff and say, well, let's get all the facts in. One thing that I really would criticize Superintendent Hansen for was this huge public relations department he created. I think when I was
public information officers, huh?
Public information, which is public relations.
Yeah.
And I think he has over 12. When prior to him coming, there was maybe 2 or 3 that worked there at most. And he is a large part of that is to create an image with the public that the district is doing a really wonderful job, which may or may not be the case.
If you were on the school board today, would it be difficult to hire a reputable superintendent from outside?
I think it's always better if you can find a person local. That would be ideal. But yes, I think there are good people out there. I think it's a question of what kind of person you're looking for, because you generally find what you're looking for.
And what kind of person would you be looking for if you were there?
If I were looking, the qualities I look for is a people person, a person that can work with all the employees, with the community, that is a good problem solver. And I would not be looking for the latest fad in education that come along and say, I can come in here, raise all your test scores and solve all your problems. Those kind of circumstances, which is what we have had, don't work out. Problem solving, people skills, good sound management skills is very important for a superintendent.
Is he too secretive, Michael Hansen? Has he been not transparent enough?
I believe
him personally.
Yes. I would say, in my judgment, he is definitely has not been transparent.
So in the interviewing process, in getting a new superintendent, how do you find out if somebody is transparent?
Well,
how do you
have
do that.
It isn't easy. I know.
You have to be able to read people. I mean.
Well, I think if you hire a search firm to look at it, you have to look at their past record. When they hired Mr. Hansen, he had no record. Had never been a superintendent. Now you went
didn't he come from Elk Grove, I believe, when he was hired?
Yes, but he was in administration there, but he wasn't.
He wasn't the superintendent. Yeah.
And you are really rolling the dice when that happens, because there's no track record that you can go to and say, well, you've been superintendent at this district or somewhere else, and with him, he was no experience as a superintendent at all, taking over the fourth largest school district in California.
Track record, it sounds like to me what you're saying is important, but there are other key factors: honesty, transparency, getting out in the community, not making too many promises. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's hard to find. That combination is hard to find. And you're also saying,
I have a model for superintendent, and
can you tell us what it is?
It's John Strempel, who I don't know if he's still alive. He's an elderly man now, if he is. Was superintendent in Fresno through most of the 80s. He was
here in Fresno.
Right. He was not a PR person. He was not flamboyant. He was very low-keyed, and he was honest. And when he gave you your word, you could trust him. And he was a very successful superintendent, probably the most successful I think we've ever had.
And what made him so successful? That people connection?
I think he was a listener and a problem solver, and he didn't have an ego.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. Is Michael Hansen a dictator? Does he have an ego?
Well, no, I wouldn't say he's a dictator. I think he has a vision that he believes a direction we should be going in, and he makes sure that we adhere to that direction. And if anyone disagrees with him, he'll move them aside.
Okay. And he's done so.
And he has.
And he has done so. And he doesn't like his critics. Well, we all don't like critics, right?
No, none of us do.
No, of course. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's exclusive to Fresno Unified School District. I'm sure there's other public agencies that also utilize that leaseback type of financing arrangement for facilities and buildings and such as that. He got caught, and I'm sure that there's plenty out there getting away with it. I'm not sure about that, but that was a comment. And my question is, Larry Powell if Larry Powell gets tapped to come in as the interim, what's the chance of getting him to stay full term? Would he be willing? Seems like he retired too soon. He's well liked and well respected throughout the Central Valley, and seems like he'd be the perfect candidate, maybe even better on paper than Hansen was during the hiring process. So,
yeah,
could your guest comment?
Yeah,
for sure on paper. I know Larry Powell. He is a good person. He's a very honest person. He has a lot of those traits that I was describing of John Strempel.
Yeah.
So I personally like him. Had some differences with him over the years, but I respect him. He has integrity, and I think that he would be a good interim if they chose him.
What about Larry Moore?
I would be the worst person in the world put in that position.
Why is that?
I'm retired, have no interest in that kind. I'm not an administrator. I was an advocate for teachers, and as an elected official, I think I worked hard to do my job to the best of my ability. No, that's not something for me.
What about
I'm
Miss
too old
Asadorian?
anyway. I think she would be better than I would. That's
Does
for
she
sure.
have any interest?
I don't know. I kind of doubt it.
Really? Because Hansen's going to be on the way out, so maybe the board should look at everybody across the board, including yourself, Miss Asadorian, Mr. Powell. There are all sorts of candidates out there, and you mentioned local. You're local.
Look, it sounds great,
right?
You know, and I don't want to get into politics here, but we have a president that we just elected that has no experience. So people are going to have to judge how is that going to work out. And it's the same thing with the superintendent. This is a complex system, and experience matters. And bringing a person in that has some experience, perhaps been a superintendent at a smaller district, or has at least been through that process, that makes a difference. I wouldn't know where to start if I walked in on the job, and bringing in a person that has no experience in that area, I think would be not good. That's why Larry Powell is so perfect.
Education? How long?
Well, I was in education probably 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
Counting my board time.
Yeah, your board time, union leader, teacher. If you combine all that, you're talking nearly 40 years, and you'd be a good candidate, although you may not think so in your own mind. But Larry Powell would also be a good one. And Larry Powell, you know, it's not, like, we were talking about this, you know, Larry Powell, I mean, I think he gave up his salary when he was Fresno County superintendent. There was a national story about that when he took over for Pete Mijas. I haven't heard one negative thing about Larry Powell. Have you?
No.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, he's a good person, and being a county superintendent is different than being a school superintendent. However,
Are there more problems?
It's really a different function.
Oh, okay.
You're not directly in charge of a school district. You have a role to play, but it's mainly an oversee and advice, and it's a service that you provide to other school districts.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a question of money. Larry doesn't need the money, but does he need the headache? That's the question. Or is he bored? You know, that's the other question,
well,
too.
Look, I'm not sure what age he is.
Yeah, I don't know.
He is retired, and he retired for a reason. He wanted to be retired.
Yeah,
and
but he's still a young man.
Yes, and sometimes, you know, when you retire, the phone stops ringing, and we all know that. And so you kind of miss the action, but I really doubt whether Larry Powell is interested in permanent. Now, as a community service to come in, what he brings is respect in the community.
Yeah. Hey, I got news for you,
that's
Larry.
good.
Even when you're still working like I am, the phone still stops ringing sometimes. So, you know, I don't know why.
That's true.
I don't know why.
That's
I don't know
true.
why that is. But anyway, Larry Moore is here. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Charles Chuck McGill is our sponsor today. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk about Clovis Unified and what's going on there with their play. I got some interesting stats here and some quotes. And then we'll talk about Mary Tyler Moore, the beloved actress, dead at the age of 80 yesterday of health complications. Back in a moment.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the KitchenAid appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Save big with KitchenAid. Right now, get up to a $1,000 prepaid MasterCard when you purchase select KitchenAid appliances. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show.
It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
Biz TV is now on KVHF Channel 4.6.
Back here on the program, and we're talking about Clovis Unified now, and I'm sure you've heard about this, read about this. It's been all over the news. It's been in the paper. It's been on talk radio. We had 2 Buchanan High School students here that were supposed to be here on this program today. They eventually backed out. We do have some comments from the public information officer from Clovis Unified. We'll talk about that. But let me tell you what this is about. Let me kind of set the stage here. Clovis Unified School District was back in the news this past week, this time outraging some students because they decided, the district officials decided, to cancel a play called No Exit. This is a French production dating back all the way to 1944. Let me tell you what the play is about. It features 3 characters who are basically locked up in a room. Supposedly they have already died, and they are in hell. Okay, why are they in hell? Let me tell you why. One man, character that's in the scene here, his name is Joseph Garson. He apparently was a coward who cheated on his wife and caused her death. That's one. Number 2, there's another woman in the play called Ines Serrano, who is Brazilian, a lesbian postal worker who turned a wife against her husband. Then there's another woman who plays in the play, accused of having an affair, giving birth, and then purposely killing her baby by drowning her baby. Unbelievable. So, I want to show you the black and white version of this, dating back to 1960. I don't think this content is tailor-made for kids under 10, maybe even a little higher. Let's look at it.
Look into my eyes. What do you see?
Oh, I'm there. Oh, but so tiny. I can't see myself properly.
I can. All of you. Now, ask me questions. I shall be as candid as any looking glass.
But...
No, don't bother about him. We're alone. Ask me.
Are my lips all right?
Show me. Bit smudgy.
Oh, I thought as much. Luckily no one's seen me. I'll try again.
Wait. Now wait. Now. Follow the line of your lips. Mm-hmm. Now. No. Let me guide you. Let me guide you. Ah. There. That's quite good.
As good as when I came in?
Oh, better. Far better. Crueler. Your mouth looks quite diabolical that way.
Good gracious. And you say you like it? Oh, dear. It's sickening not to be able to see for myself. Miss Serrano, you sure it's all right now?
Call me Ines.
Are you sure it's all right?
Lovely.
But how can I rely on your taste? Is it the same as my taste? Oh, how sickening it all is. It's enough to drive one crazy.
But I have your taste because I like you so much.
Okay, so, Larry, you're a little red-faced there. What's going on with that? Anyway, a little embarrassed.
I was watching that.
I know but listen, this is a play that was written in France by a guy, and I want to pronounce his name correctly if it kills me, Jean-Paul Sartre. Okay, 1944, Nobel Prize-winning playwright, and so written in France, 1944. That's when it debuted. It's called No Exit. All right. The producer of this play at Clovis Unified, Jared Serpa, he was the director. They said no. Jada Sylvestre, who apparently has some issues with the district, they were supposed to come on this program today. They backed out at the last minute. I do want to mention that. However, I do also want to say that I want to read some quotes here, and then I'll get your comments. This is what Jared Serpa had to say to the Fresno Bee about this. That just shows how cowardly the parent is for not talking to their child about reality and telling them that the world that they live in isn't perfectly heterosexual like they want it to be. And then Jada Sylvestre told this to the Bee. She says, apparently having a few scenes in which 2 women flirt and look into each other's eyes too much. Put simply here in Clovis Unified, apparently being different is too much. This is homophobia, and it's discrimination. Worse, yes, Clovis Unified School District and Buchanan High saying that that's okay is totally unacceptable. All right. Somebody at Clovis had to approve this. I mean, they had a director, they had a cast, they went through rehearsals, they almost put on the first performance, and then all of a sudden, boom, they pull the rug out from under them. I got a two-part question. Don't students at schools, public schools, have a certain amount of rights? And how could this happen?
Well, I read last night. I was reviewing after you called me to come on the show, Supreme Court decisions.
Yeah.
Clearly, the Supreme Court has, as I understand it, and I'm not an attorney, but has said, yes, high school students have freedom of expression rights.
And it's right here. This is the Supreme Court ruling.
But the key is the following words are to a point. And the Supreme,
what does that mean?
Well, it means, as they go on to say, that editorial, to exercise editorial supervision, to make over newspapers, plays, and are certainly within the realm of the school district or the principal or the teacher. I don't know the mechanisms or who approved or didn't approve and how far it went up the chain. Those are all legitimate issues to be looked at. But clearly they have the authority to do that. But the Supreme Court also said they should use this authority in a very careful manner and only if it relates to the educational process.
I want to read this Supreme Court ruling. It just basically says schools may censor newspapers, restrict other forms of student expression. And I guess this play is student expression, but it's not their expression. It's the expression of a playwright dating back to the 1940s in France. And they're just reproducing that expression of someone else.
But it is a school-sponsored event, and students are participating in it when they do a play. So the issue of whether they have the right to censor at some level, that goes without question. Whether it was a playwright or whatever. The question is, was there an educational reason why they pulled it?
Right, and this restricts forms of student expression include theatrical productions, yearbooks, creative writing assignments, and campaign and graduation speeches. So they can censor all of that.
All of that, but they do not have absolute right to censor. I mean, it's always
Everything.
a great right. And like a lot of decisions by the Supreme Court, it's case by case. And you have to look at the facts, and only the courts can tell us if they actually have the right to do that. But they should definitely use their prerogative to pull these things in a proper manner. Now, every school district should have a policy on that. Should have, if you have a play, there's a teacher involved. The teacher, at some level, someone selects the play. It's not just students. There's supervision involved in that, and that's editorial discretion at that point. Assuming the principal reviews these things, are they saying that this play was put on, was approved, and no one pulled it until the very day or whatever it was going to go on?
Somebody had to
because
approve it initially.
It had to go through months of rehearsal.
Yeah.
To be on there. So that's what I question. Did they follow their own policies? And what was the purpose of pulling it? And
Well, here I'll answer that question real quick. We got a response from Kelly Avents, the Public Information Officer, Clovis Unified. Let's go first with no exit response from Kelly. Let's put, we got 3 screens on this one here. Let's go with the first one. First and foremost, please know that this senior student produced the show, and that was Jared Serpa, was not canceled due to one character being a lesbian, nor was the cancellation a result of a parent complaints through We Did Not Receive Some. In fact, we have held drama productions in our district that included LGBTQ characters and or plot lines without the issue. The dark themes of hopelessness, hell, and people as one another's tortures, along with references to the murder of a child in No Exit, are no more suitable to an adult are more suitable to an adult audience and were the reasons for the play's cancellation. This was a decision made solely by Buchanan High School Principal Richie Ulrich in collaboration with Buchanan High School area Superintendent Robert Castillo. So that's the official response there. You see her picture, Kelly Avents. And let's go to the next response. Content should be suitable, she says. No Exit is a well-respected play, suitable for an adult audience. Given that we are a public K-12 school district, the standard that we have for our student performances is that content is suitable for an audience that is almost entirely under the age of 18 years old and still minors. Our school has taken full responsibility for the fact, hear that? Full responsibility for the fact that our protocols of script review by the teacher and a learning director, vice principal on campus were not followed. Had these protocols had been followed, it would have resulted in an earlier decision to select another play to perform. It was not until the students' show's opening night that the full scope of the maturity level of the play's content was made apparent to the school administration in attendance, after which time a decision was made by our school and our leaders to cancel the 2 remaining shows. So there's your answer, Larry. Are you satisfied?
Well,
the district is basically admitting we made a mistake. We let it go too far before we pulled the rug.
That they did.
Yeah.
And
inappropriate for high schools?
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't make a judgment on that. I think high school students, if you turn on HBO, you see quite a things that I would have thought when I was younger would not be on TV or on TV for the public to see now. So, I'll leave that for other people to determine whether it was appropriate or not. I would concentrate on the process. And the process, their own process obviously wasn't filed. And I would want to know the principal saying, sounds like he's scapegoating. He's the principal, or she is the principal, is responsible.
Do we have time for Mary Tyler Moore? Yes?
Yes, 1 minute left.
Great. Okay, Mary Tyler Moore, let's put her picture up. 80 years old. Sad day yesterday. She died at the age of 80 years old. Health complications. She was known, of course, as Laura Petrie on the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then later had her own show, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Let's roll the videotape.
Iconic television star Mary Tyler Moore has died. The actress died Wednesday with her husband and friends at her side. She was 80. Moore gained fame in the 1960s as the frazzled wife Laura Petrie on The Dick Van Dyke Show.
Don't play innocent with me, Rob. You found it and you opened it.
In the 1970s, she created one of TV's first career woman sitcom heroines in The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
You got spunk.
The comic realism of that beloved show helped revolutionize the depiction of women on the small screen. At a time when women's liberation was catching on worldwide, her character brought to TV audiences an independent 1970s career woman.
Associate producer, can you believe that?
She won 7 Emmy Awards over the years and was nominated for an Oscar for her 1980 portrayal of an affluent mother whose son is accidentally killed in Ordinary People. She'd battled diabetes for many years. In 2011, she underwent surgery to remove a benign tumor on the lining of her brain. In 2012, Mary Tyler Moore received the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. Warren Levinson, Associated Press.
Mary Tyler Moore, dead at the age of 80. Boy, she was a forerunner. I got to tell you, got 30 seconds. She was ahead of her time, and she was such a natural on camera, natural beauty, and just natural talent to be one of the all-time great actresses.
Well, I'm old enough to watch those shows. They were tremendous. What a tremendous talent.
Yeah, and the casting of Dick Van Dyke, she initially turned that down. Laura Petrie.
Really?
Yeah, and her agent had to push her in there for the audition. It's amazing. Larry, good to see you. Come back again sometime.
Great, anytime. I'm
all right.
Happy to do that. See,
Thank
someone
you.
actually called me.
All right. Larry Moore, all right. Former school district member at Fresno Unified. See you tomorrow with Peter Nazaridian. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you, John. That was great.
If you have a need to promote your business or event, please consider MeTV Fresno for your next campaign. MeTV reaches over 100,000 of your potential customers in the Fresno area every single week. Plus, you can rest assured that your commercial is running in the greatest family-friendly programs of all time. MeTV Fresno delivers a strong, loyal audience ready to buy, and your campaign will cost a fraction of what you're paying for your advertising now. Call me today to find out how